want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day, my book, The Mirror of Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you.
You're now tuned in to the only show in the world where you get the following: the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success that you expected to achieve as a result of your actions have yet to produce results. You're going to keep doing it anyway. That's mental toughness. And on top of all this, the personal initiative to even put all of this stuff into action and do something with it. This is that go-getter energy. You know how you feel when you just like, you know what, I'm going to make something happen instead of waiting for things to happen. I'm going to show you how to do all of that. As long as you stay with me every day here on this show where you're getting the mindset, the method, the podcast, the philosophy. There's also a book. If you didn't know, go get it. It is all called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Congratulate yourself on making the decision to be here today, because there's a lot of things you could be listening to other than this, but this is the best decision you can make. And today's topic is how to ensure that you do not become a used to be individual ever. You don't want to be a used to be person. You know what I mean when I say used to be person? I mean somebody who somewhere in your past. That means, let me make it even more succinct. A used to be person is a person whose greatest achievement was something that happened in the past. They don't have anything going on right now that's worth talking about. They don't have anything they're looking towards in the future that's worth talking about. The best thing they did is something that is gathering dust in history, whether it was last week, last year, or 20 years ago. You don't want to become a used to be individual, because every single day, every moment, actually, your accomplishments are getting older and older. And the way that things are moving these days, as fast as things are moving, as fast as things change these days, you don't want your greatest accomplishments to be in your past. You always want to have something that you're moving forward to and looking towards that makes you better. I heard Kobe Bryant say in an interview, I don't remember who he was talking to, but he was talking about his media business or his storytelling business, whatever he calls it, that he's doing these days when it comes to, he wrote a book, he's had some books, he's done some things for kids, podcasting and making films and things like that. He said, if 20 years from now, my greatest accomplishment is what I did in the NBA for the LA Lakers, then my life has been a failure. I've failed somehow, because what Kobe was saying, and he might have said this in so many words, is that I want what I do outside of basketball or after basketball to be greater than what I did in basketball. And we all know that even if you don't watch basketball, we all know Kobe's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. So he's setting the bar very high for himself, but he is extolling the very idea that I'm giving you here today, that even though what you did in the past, whenever the past was, may have been great, as long as you're still alive, there's still work to do. There's still progress to be made. There is still a mark that you can make on this world. Just because you did something amazing 2 years ago doesn't mean that has to be the greatest thing that you ever did. And you don't want to be the person 5 years from now and your 2 years ago achievement is now 7 years old and you haven't done anything worth talking about since. You haven't done anything notable since 7 years later. That's not, would you want to do that? I wouldn't want to be that person. I don't think you would want to be that person. So that's what we're talking about here today, to not be that used to be individual. When I walked away from basketball, my career wasn't as illustrious as Kobe Bryant, nor was I as famous as Kobe, but I left the game knowing that what I was going to do next, or at first I knew what I was going to do next, and I knew that whatever I was going to do next, I believed, and I had a somewhat of a plan in my mind that I could make it better than what I had done as a basketball player. And I always have my mind on, at all points in my career, business career, basketball career, I always have my mind on how I can keep it moving no matter what. So even though you might no longer be a person selling on eBay like I was, one day I stopped selling on eBay, I could go to the next thing, which might be selling on Amazon or selling my own products on my own website. If it's not going to be basketball, then I can still enrich the basketball world. I can still do podcasts. I'm not going to do YouTube videos and I can make a podcast. If I'm going to do videos, maybe I can evolve it into something else. If I'm not playing basketball, and I can get into business. So it's always keeping your mind on how to keep it moving, no matter how great your previous accomplishment was. If you're walking away from that, it doesn't mean that has to be the peak of your career. It doesn't mean everything has to be downhill after that. And that's what today's show is about, is developing and maintaining that mindset. Point number one, today's topic again, don't be a used to be person ever. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And when you go to a job interview, for example, or you try to rent an apartment or lease a condominium or something like that, people want to know about your history. They want to know where you came from. What were you doing at this time last year? What were you doing? What job are you working at right now? Why are you leaving that job? People want to know what you did in your past so they can make a logical, reasonable assumption of what you're going to do in the future. So that may not mean just looking at one thing. You may look at everything you've done in aggregate and say, all right, just looking at everything, because we all know that you are the average of what you consistently do, right? You are what you continually do, as Aristotle said. So when you go in for, like I said, job interview, they want to know what you've done in the past. Where'd you work in the past? What are you doing today? Doing great stuff today, ladies and gentlemen, is the best way to get an opportunity tomorrow. And it's all going on your resume. So if you don't want to be that used to be individual, again, no matter what you did yesterday, whenever yesterday could be a year ago, could be literally 2 days ago, understand that you want to do great stuff now today, because whatever opportunities you are angling for in the future, those opportunities are evaluating your worthiness based on your present tasks, based on your present achievements, based on your present performance. Now, let me just tie this all together so you understand what I'm saying. I said the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, but understand what you're doing today in the present. It's the present today, but tomorrow, today becomes the past. You follow me? So that means right now where you are, since you can't do anything about your past, maybe your past is kind of spotty, maybe your past is questionable, maybe you didn't do anything worthy or noteworthy or worth talking about in your past. So, and your past is not really helping you too much right now today. But here's the thing. Here's how you can help your tomorrows, even if your past is not worth talking about, or your past is something you don't want to get talked about because it's not too good. The best way you can help your tomorrows is not by trying to change the past, which you know you can't do, not trying to eliminate it, because now we got the internet and the internet has receipts. It's hard to hide things. The best way you can make your tomorrows better is to make your today great, because your today becomes yesterday as soon as we get to tomorrow. As soon as you wake up tomorrow, today is yesterday. As soon as you wake up tomorrow, the present of right now is the past tomorrow. So the best work that you can possibly do today is going to start building your resume for tomorrow. And if you don't want to be a used to be person, this is all you have to do. Just follow the logic that I'm giving you here. We're still on point number one. All you have to do is do great work today, in the present, wherever you are. And it doesn't matter when you listen to what I'm saying. You can listen to this in 2019. You can listen to it again in 2024. If all you do is the best that you can do today, you are already building your resume. You're setting up a foundation for tomorrow, you having a past that is worth talking about, a past that you're proud of, a past that you'd be willing to point to. If someone asks you, where the hell you've been, what the hell have you been doing, you can point to, hey, look what I did yesterday, look what I was doing in 2021. You see it, because every day you're approaching your work with this mindset of, do the best I can right now, don't worry about the past, because once it's the past, there's nothing you can do about it anyway. Point number two. Today's topic is do not be a used to be person ever. Remember that time is always moving. The world never stands still. So don't get left behind living in your past and forgetting about the present, and maybe making the mistake of not at least keeping one eye or half of an eye towards the future. Time is always moving forward. Any of you have a clock or a watch that has the second hand? See how that second hand is always moving? If your watch or clock is digital, you see how that number is constantly changing. It never just pauses. Time never just stops for anybody. It continually moves on all of us at all times, meaning every day we are all getting one day older. Every action, we're all getting one activity older. Every year, we're all getting 1 year older. No one is immune to this. No one ages more than 1 year at a time. Nobody can age less than 1 day at a time. So since time is always moving, you don't want to get left behind living in what may now be the present, but tomorrow is going to be the past, still talking about your old things. And you forget about what's going on right now in the moment. Since the moment, we can't always predict the moment. We don't always know what's going to come in the future. The most important thing we can do then is not dwell on what has happened in our past, whether it's something we love, we feel proud about, or something we regret and we don't want anyone to know about. Either way, what we can do instead is keep ourselves paying attention in the moment. Keep ourselves present. That's the word I'm looking for. Present in the moment. Focusing on what's going on right now. Focusing on where is my or our current opportunity. Because if you take advantage of every current opportunity, at least the ones that are in your wheelhouse that make sense for where you're trying to go in life, you take advantage of these opportunities, you're going to start building up that resume. Again, every single day on Tuesday, Monday is history. So what'd you do on Monday? If today is Monday and you're listening to this, what are you going to do today that tomorrow, when it's Tuesday, you can look back and say, hey, look at my past, look at my history. I had some things that look good there, but you're still going to take advantage of Tuesday's opportunities. Again, you're not resting on your laurels of what you did Monday. What you did may be great, but every single day, what you did gets older. Now, this is the idea that Kobe already had in his mind when he was talking about, if what I did in my life, if the greatest thing I did in my life is what I did as a basketball player, 20 years after basketball, that's a problem. Because that means I didn't do anything worthwhile in the 20 years that I had after the 20 years of basketball. Don't get left behind living in your past and forgetting what's going on now. Even though what you did in the past may be great, every single day your past gets older. If you're worried that maybe your past achievements will be buried in the sand, you think what you did in the past or what you're doing now is really great, but it's not getting the kind of attention that you think it should be getting. It's not getting the burn, it's not getting the play that you believe it should be getting. You think more people should know about what you're doing right now. You're worried that history will bury it and nobody's ever going to know about it. Here's what you can do to fight against that. I'm going to tell you how to foolproof yourself against that outcome that we know that you don't want, right? This is what you do. Make your next thing build upon what you're doing today. So if you think what you're doing right now is just not being seen enough, it's not getting enough attention, people just don't know about it, or people, maybe they're recognizing it, but they're not quite appreciating it the way that you think they should appreciate it, the next thing that you do, what you work on tomorrow or the thing that you're working on today, make sure it builds upon what you already did in the past that already got ignored. If the next thing is so great, when people see that next thing, they see how great it is, you know what they're going to do? They're going to go look at what you've done in your past, because they're like, damn, this person's really good. What they produced today is really good. I wonder what they did yesterday. I wonder what they did 3 weeks ago. I wonder what they did 2 years ago. Since they're good, so now they're so good now, they were probably good then. So let me go look and see what they did. I'll give you a simple example of this. If any of you who's a reader of books, if you ever come across some author who put out a book and it wasn't their first book, and the book was really good and you read it and you liked it and you liked the author, you're like, damn, I want to read more stuff from this person. What do? You go on Amazon or you go on their website or you follow them on social media and you find out what other books they have. You go read the book that they wrote last year. Then you read the book they wrote 5 years ago. Then you go back to their very first book and then you start following them, and then maybe something they put out in the future you get. But as soon as we come across someone who we like their stuff, and we came across them somewhere in the middle of their run, their career, we go backwards and we find out what they were doing before we knew about them. And then we consume that stuff too, because we like this person. We became a fan. We are followers of this person. I'm a purchaser of this person's books. Now I like their fourth book that they put out. I'm gonna go get their third book, their second book, and their first book, because they made me a fan with the fourth book. So they weren't sitting there on the day when it was time for them to start writing that fourth book. They didn't sit there and say, damn, not enough people read books 1, 2, and 3. So maybe I shouldn't write a fourth book because nobody's going to buy it. No, that's the exact opposite of what I'm telling you here. If nobody read your first book, your second book, or your third book, and understand I'm using books as a metaphor here, all you need to do is make your fourth book so amazing that when people read the fourth book, they're going to say, damn, this person wrote 4 books. That means there are 3 other books that I need to go get. Because this fourth one was so good, I need to go back and get books 3, 2, and 1. That's the way you take your present material, make it build on what you've done in your past, or at least refer back to it in some way, so that when people see how great the current thing is, they will automatically want to go back to the past things. Any of you who started listening to this podcast, the Work on Your Game podcast, anytime after the spring of 2016, which is when the show started, if you came in around episode 200 or episode 385 or episode 716 or episode number 1002 or episode number 1250, you probably, I'm just going to venture to guess, you probably went backwards and said, what else has Dre put out? What else has Dre talked about? Maybe I referenced a previous episode. Notice that I'm planting the seed in your mind. I'll reference a previous episode and say, in episode number 700, I said this. In episode number 216, I said that. In episode number 405, I said this. In episode number 999, I said this. I'm referring you to what I've done in the past. So even though you didn't even know about me when that episode came out, since you know about me now and you like what you're hearing now, you are likely to go check out whatever I refer you back to, so you can see, wow, this person's kind of been around for a while. I didn't know about them, but they've been doing good stuff for a while. Let me go check out what they've been doing. And this is what I do whenever I come across let's say a podcast, for example, that I like. If I like the current episode I'm listening to, I'll go back and say, all right, if I really like this person, I'll go back and I'll listen to every episode of their podcast from the very beginning, or at least as far back as I can go. If I'm just hearing about a person and they're an author and they're on their 5th book, I'm going to go check out books 1, 2, 3, and 4 and see which one of those do I want to read as well. This is what we all do when we come across something new that we like. So don't be worried that something you did today is so great, but it's being ignored. Maybe it is being ignored. Maybe enough people don't know about you. But if the next thing you do tomorrow is great enough, people are going to want to know what came before this. Let me go back and check out that too. And there are a lot of strategic ways that you can entice people to do that. But understand that as long as you're doing great work today, it will help the discoverability of your previous work. All right, that's the way that all of these things work. There are videos of mine I put on YouTube 10 years ago that people are still coming across today and watching, that I still can get the benefit from to this very day, that came out 5, 6, 7, 9 years ago. Why? Because the stuff that I'm doing today, I'm still doing something today. I'm still out here. So when people see me, they're like, all right, I like this guy. What did he do last week? What did he put out 2 years ago? How long has he been in the game? Well, he's been around for a while. Let me see what else he has. This is the same thing that you can be doing for yourself. This is not limited to one person. Everybody can be doing this as long as you make your next thing build upon the previous thing. If your next thing is just as good or better, people will look to find out what your resume is. And what are they going to see when people look at your resume? A resume is a historical document, right? It's talking about the past. It's talking about what you used to do. So what you used to do is not a bad thing, though the title of this episode may make it seem like, it is saying actually clearly that being a used to be person is not what you want to be, but what you used to do is a good thing because that's your history, that's your resume, that's your CV. All right, it speaks for you. Your reputation precedes you, as they say. Every great thing you do now reinforces your name and your brand, which brings more people to learn about what is behind it. All right, you don't have to keep screaming about what you did yesterday. Eventually they will see it as long as you keep doing great stuff today. And point number 3, today's topic is don't be a used to be person ever. Expect change. Change is the one inevitability of life. We've all heard that before, right? Just because everything is working smoothly for you right now and you're doing great right now, that doesn't mean that things are going to stay that way. And actually, I'll even go as far as to saying it definitely means that things will not stay that way. Just because it's good now doesn't mean it's going to stay good. So even if things are excellent right now, keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes looking to the future, at least one eye or half of an eye looking to the future for the changes and the opportunities that are inevitable to show up as the ground shifts for all of us. The ground will shift for everybody. So anyone who's doing great right now doesn't mean it's going to just keep going if you do nothing and you stay in cruise control. It's probably going to stop working for you if you do nothing. And you'll probably be in cruise and you'll slow down so slowly that you won't even notice that the ground is shifting under your feet. Don't let that be you. Pay attention, stay woke, all right? Stay focused in the present moment. The present moment is always changing. And those of you things are not going so great for you right now, listen, the ground will shift for you as well. And at the same time, just because the ground is going to shift, it doesn't mean things will automatically get better for you just because you stuck around. You need to keep your mind focused on where are the opportunities, where can I make changes, where can I do something different that will put me in a better space and get me more momentum, to get my name, my work, my fill in the blank in a better light. You need to be asking yourself that on a consistent basis, keeping your eyes to the future because change is inevitable. The shifting of the ground under our feet is inevitable. The question is not if it's going to shift. The question is it going to knock you off balance when it shifts because you've been trying to stand still for so long? Now, if you're moving and the ground is moving under your feet at the same time, you won't even notice because you're always moving. And the earth is literally moving at all times. Now, we can't feel it. Most of us, I don't think most of us can feel that the earth is moving. But if you sit still for long enough, I'm not telling you you're going to start feeling. I mean, when I say sit still, I mean in a macro sense, meaning not doing anything new, not trying anything, trying to rest on your laurels, trying to stay where you are, maintain the status quo. You do that for long enough, you're going to notice the world is just changing all around you and it's leaving you behind. All right, so you don't want to be a museum piece. All right, museum pieces are dead. They're inanimate objects. We don't need human beings, live beings to be that. All right, we collect those. You can create things that'll go in there, but don't you yourself as a person become that. Apple, the company, at one time they made great computers. Then they made the iPod, and the iPod was revolutionary, right? They took everyone's music library and they put it into this one little device that could fit in your back pocket with thousands of songs. But even after they did that, that was a revolutionary enough thing. I mean, imagine if you created something that had the impact that the iPad had on the music world and just consumers in general. Imagine you created that. How driven would you be to create something else after that? iPod was a revolutionary thing, but Apple kept going. They kept their eyes to the future. Next thing is they took the iPod, they combined that with a cell phone and combined that with a computer and put all of that into a device that fit in your pocket that was damn near the exact same size, even a little bit smaller maybe, and they called that the iPhone. Corded headphones were cool. Now Apple has come with the AirPods. I mean, a lot of people still use the corded headphones. Now we got the AirPods, the Bluetooths that you can connect. Even though the white cords from the Apple phone, when it first came out, or the iPod, when it first came out, that was like a signature thing. You saw somebody with those white cords, you knew it was an Apple device. Nobody had done that before. So even though Apple had done these things that were great in the moment, which became their history, they kept looking to the future in ways to keep getting better. Netflix, for example, they started with what? Shipping DVDs in the mail. You remember you had that little envelope, you put the DVD in the envelope, you could drop it right in the mailbox. They would come take it, they bring you another one. That was their thing, and it was doing pretty well, but they kept their eyes to the future. They realized, you know what, the future is not just people shipping DVDs back and forth. The future is on-demand streaming video, where somebody can just push a button on their phone, on their laptop, on their Apple device, whatever Apple's going to come out with next, and they'll just be able to watch something right there without having to ship anything, not go to their mailbox at all. And Netflix kept their eyes to the future. Then, even after doing all of that, and Netflix became big off of that, right? Netflix said, no, what else we got to do? What do we got to do next? We got to keep our eyes to the future. The next thing is we're going to create exclusive content. We're not going to just license a TV show from some other network or get movies that everyone knows about and make those on demand. Yeah, we can do that. And eventually the other companies who were licensing to Amazon realized that Amazon was killing it off of that and start pulling their stuff back. Amazon said, we don't need them. We're going to start financing and putting out our own stuff. We're going to make Netflix exclusive material. Amazon too. We're going to make exclusive material that is just made by us, and the only way you can get it is going through us, and people will be able to stream it on demand online. Netflix, Apple, Kobe Bryant, you, me, we're not just going to sit back and marvel at what we did yesterday or what we're even doing today, because tomorrow's a new day and a new opportunity, and we don't ever want to be, as we recap today's topic, don't ever be a used to be individual. Point number one, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So when you go to a job interview, for example, what do they want to know? They want to know what you did in the past, and they want to know what you're doing today. Doing great stuff today becomes your past. Is the best way to get an opportunity tomorrow, and it's all going on your resume. Point number two, time is always moving. So don't get left behind living in your past and forgetting about the present. Now, what you did in the past may be great, but every single day is getting older. So if you're worried about your past achievements not getting the attention you believe they deserve, make sure your next thing that you builds upon what you've done in the past. If your next book is amazing, then people are going to go back and buy your first book just because they like the next book, just because they like the second book that much. If the next thing you do is just as good or better than your previous thing, people will look into you and find out what your resume is. They'll see your history. You don't have to keep screaming about it because they will go find it for you. You don't even have to tell them. They'll go look for it. Every great thing that you do now, it reinforces your name and your brand, which brings more people to learn about what is behind it because they'll be curious. And point number three, expect change. All right, don't let change catch you by surprise. Expect it to happen. Of everything that could occur in life, expect things to change. Just because things are working now for you or they're not working now for you doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Actually, it definitely won't stay that way. So stay awake, stay present, stay paying attention in the moment. Keep your eyes focused on where you want to go. Again, that 80-20 rule. What are the inputs that are producing the actual outputs that we want? Apple, Netflix, me, you, Kobe Bryant, all did great things in our past, but we are not going to just sit back and rest on what we did in our history, because every day is collecting dust. We keep getting better. We keep moving forward. We keep advancing. Now, my book, The Mirror of Motivation, is subtitled The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. This book is all about keeping your eyes focused on where you want to go, focusing your energies, focusing your mind, getting them to work together instead of working against each other or having one going left and the other one going right and everything is all confused. That's what The Mirror of Motivation is all about. It's about finding that inner drive through connecting to your discipline, which connects you to your confidence, which will connect you to your performance and connect you to results. If that's what you're looking for, guess what? You can get that book absolutely free. While supplies last, I'm giving you a free physical copy of my book, The Mirror of Motivation. All you need to do is go to mirrorofmotivation.com. That's mirrorofmotivation.com. Claim your free copy of the book, The Mirror of Motivation, The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. I'm shipping it to you worldwide, wherever you live. Work on your game. Dre all day.